The super wealthy Boston-based investor Joseph P. Kennedy, patriarch of the famous Kennedy clan, was a leading member of the Irish Catholic community. To maintain favor with Irish voters, President Franklin D. Roosevelt picked Kennedy for several positions within his administration, culminating with his appointment as ambassador to Great Britain in 1938. Behind the diplomatic facade, Kennedy actually disliked FDR, and he hated Winston Churchill, but he did admire the achievements of Adolf Hitler in Germany. As ambassador, he had attempted, on 2 occasions, without the approval of the U.S. State Department, to set up a friendly personal meeting with Hitler himself. Here's Joe Kennedy with German Foreign Minister von Ribbentrop. Because of his unauthorized peacekeeping efforts, Kennedy was removed from his position in 1940. The men which Kennedy referred to as, quote, the communists and the Jews around Roosevelt's, end quote, never forgave him for that. Nor did they forgive British Prime Minister Neville Chamberlain for also trying to get along with Hitler and to prevent World War II. The cabal would, time and time again, thwart the political aspirations that Joe Kennedy had for his sons. With this historical context in mind, let us review the Kennedy curse. A bizarre phenomenon which caused the, quote, anti-Semite Papa Joe to live to mourn the premature deaths of 4 of his 9 children, and very nearly a 5th, not to mention the grown grandson in later years. In 1940, not long before FDR removed him from his ambassadorship, Kennedy Sr. sent a strange telegram to the U.S. State Department suggesting that Churchill might attempt to have him killed. Historian David Irving, citing original source documentation, explains, quote, when Kennedy boards the USS Manhattan to sail back across the Atlantic, he is in a bit of a panic because he knows he's dealing with Churchill. He sends a telegram to the State Department saying, please, will you announce that if the USS Manhattan is torpedoed and sunk, that the United States will not declare war with Germany over this, because I have reason to believe that Churchill is planning to torpedo the Manhattan, knowing that I am on board. Papa Joe surely knew that the British were intercepting all such messages, so this was probably his way of protecting himself from Churchill in advance. August 2nd, 1943. During the war, second son John F. Kennedy was nearly killed in a very strange incident. Kennedy commanded a small patrol torpedo boat, PT-109, which had been isolated from the other boats in its division, sent no warning of a Japanese destroyer that was in the area. Later that night, the Japanese vessel, which somehow had come to know the location of the idling PT-109, rammed into the boat, severing it in half and sinking it. 2 of the 11 crewmen were killed. JFK and 10 others drifted, then swam to safety on a deserted nearby island. The accidental collision in the middle of the ocean had all the indicators of a setup. August 1944. Joe Kennedy Jr., the eldest son, was blown up during the war when his plane mysteriously exploded during a non-combat mission over England. Papa Joe later referred to FDR as, quote, that crippled son of a bitch who killed my son, end quote. It is very, very interesting to note that the commander of Kennedy's aerial unit, who witnessed the explosion and gave the official story, was Colonel Elliott Roosevelt, the son of Franklin D. Roosevelt. May 1948, daughter Kathleen became the second of Papa Joe's offspring to die in a mysterious airplane crash. Her plane went down in France as she was going to visit her father. November 1963, the killers of JFK, that would be the CIA and the Mossad, picked the occult-numbered double-digit date of 11/22, November 22nd, to take out the disobedient and popular young president with a team of snipers. Though clearly shot into the side of the head while traveling in a motorcade, the patsy Lee Harvey Oswald was soon framed as the, quote, lone gunman who struck from behind. At the precise moment of the infamous deed in Dallas, a pair of vindictive farewell gestures were made toward JFK by the mysterious Umbrella Man, who opened his umbrella on a bright sunny day just before the shots rang out. And another man giving a so-called Nazi salute to JFK as he rides by at that fatal moment. Years later, Umbrella Man admitted in Senate testimony that he was just a protester, but that the umbrella was a symbol to invoke Papa Joe's friend, the umbrella-toting British Prime Minister Neville Chamberlain, who had met with Hitler and, like Papa Joe, tried to avoid World War II. According to Papa Joe, Chamberlain once confided in him that the Jews were behind the drive to force England to start World War II. On November 24th, just one day after declaring in front of live cameras, quote, I'm just a patsy, Oswald himself was killed on live TV, silenced by a low-level Jewish mobster named Jack Ruby. Just 3 days and 1 month later, Ruby also died in prison after claiming that he was being injected with cancer-causing toxins. October 1964, Papa Joe's youngest son, Senator Edward Kennedy, is nearly killed in a small plane crash, which did kill 2 other passengers. 1968, the third son, Senator Robert F. Kennedy, was assassinated on June 6th, after winning the California Democrat primary. Had he lived, RFK would likely have been elected president in 1968 and then gone after his brother's killers. 1969, Senator Edward Kennedy was again nearly killed when his car drives off of a small bridge, drowning the young woman he was with. His cowardly abandonment of Mary Jo Kopechne so damaged his name that the incident at Chappaquiddick cost him a legitimate shot at the presidency, which would elude him in future years. And finally, 31 years later, in 1999, JFK's celebrity son, JFK Jr., is killed in a mysterious plane crash. He was about to embark upon an unstoppable political career with a run for a U.S. Senate seat for New York State, a position which Hillary Clinton wanted and later obtained in 2000. So you see, the Kennedy curse is no curse at all. It is a generational cabal vendetta against the offspring of Joseph P. Kennedy. This is Mike King of RealHistoryChan.com signing off. Please like this video, share this video, have a look at our banned books, and support our important work.